Hello, friends. Nicholas here with DIVO TED Talks, Devoted Talks, where we take ancient wisdom and practices through a modern lens and experience to help people end their suffering for themselves and for their loved ones. Now, in the last episode, I was talking about being able to be in the moment and recognizing that many times our checklist that elicits a feeling is more of a permission slip that we've given ourselves, that we're withholding our joy, withholding our the quality of an experience because of these particular details that need to happen. But in many ways, what I've learned while working in the health and wellness society and world, and just in general with the public, it's not people examining what you will do or what you will help them do to fix their life. It's that the results happen. And so these details many times are irrelevant to what the feeling is, irrelevant to the result. And, what does that look like to be so in the moment that you set the intention and just let it manifest in the way that it will? Well, meditating and practicing yoga, asana specifically, but also meditation within the yogic context, as well as taking care of yourself, taking good care of your body, taking good care of your mind, and, water and intake and all of the maintenance things that you have to do to be alive in this world and move through this world successfully. And what challenges us most is these beliefs that we've developed, sometimes by, a conscious awareness and sometimes unknowingly, right? Being around people and witnessing the world sometimes creates beliefs that we don't even know exist because they were affirmed and reaffirmed over and over and over again through circumstance. We as especially children between the ages of, newborn and 7 years old are really susceptible and impressionable to those circumstances. Now, what we see them as and interpret them as may be more or less tied to the truth of the matter, depending on any corrections or even, recognition by others around us to say, yes, that is how that happens, or no, that isn't how things happen. And this is where I do believe the Western world, especially in America, the USA, we fall a little bit flat, is we don't have a lot of connection to elders and the passing on of wisdom and knowledge. And I would say maybe several generations back we did, but many people, there was a forsaking of their lineage to move here for a new life and a new way of being. And in many ways, old understandings and knowledge and wisdom may have been lost, and in many ways and many times was lost, maybe intentionally. And so it makes it challenging sometimes to move through this world because of watching movies and developing these unrealistic, detached interpretations and expectations of reality, when that isn't necessarily how things happen. No one's saying that life sucks, although sometimes it can feel that way. But I, in many ways and many times, have had these grandiose ideas that are tethered to the way movie arcs happen, because that's where I got a lot of my experience in the world, especially when young, was in books and movies. And interestingly, like in some movies where the bad thing is the ending, people are like, that's not how it's supposed to happen. And yet it is how life sometimes can be. Sometimes there isn't a heroic resolution. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there is. But not being attached to an outcome as being right or wrong, or what should or shouldn't happen, is the difference between being, for sure going to suffer because you're attached to an outcome and, it having to be a certain way or not. It's tough. I mean, it's very tough. I'm still trying to synthesize this information because I don't know that like there is a ton of practices that help you come back to center and to self and to through intuition and, strong practice, you find these answers and you find the way it is meant to be and supposed to be through that connection rather than to ideals, right? And it goes back to this ideals. So idealism, realism, and actualism. And actualism is being in the moment and not just accepting the moment, but appreciating the moment. So tuned in, you can see exactly why it's happening without want or wish outside of it being that. Of course, we're always going to want things. But when you're in the true present moment, it won't be there. Like it can't exist because if you're in appreciation, you can't be lacking. If you are in the present moment, you can't be thinking about the future or the past. And so it's less about what is going to allow you or force you into the present moment than getting rid of all the things that hold you away from the present moment. Addition by subtraction, healing by extraction. And what does that look like? Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the first step. And mindfulness can look and feel and be so many different things. But what are they for you? Right? What makes the most sense for you? What is appropriate for you may not and is often not appropriate for another or right now. Often, in our uniqueness, we have unique ways of dealing with things. Although, ironically, we are just as human as the next person, and in our uniqueness doesn't change the essence of the things that we need, the things that fill our cup, the things that fill our soul. But they may have different details, right? This is all about talking about things from a more elevated, not just view, but perspective and experience. We are meant to be in the present moment. And sometimes life is just flying by because we're not. We're thinking about being somewhere else, whether it's in the past or in the future or imagined lands that don't exist and won't exist because they're all in our head, right? The true magic is happening when you conceive of it in your mind, you believe it in your heart, and then you participate it in the actuality when it shows up. And remember, again, most of us really just want the result. We want the feeling. And when it comes to manifestation, most of the time, the only thing holding us away from the things that we want, desire, and need is truly that we believe we can't, or we believe that we're away from it and that we must perform to create it. When in reality, you just have to want it, believe it, feel it, and then it will come. Now, yoga and Ayurveda do have different practices, but it's really going to be dependent upon the person's vikruti as to what that would be like and what that should be like. And so I can't really get into specifics, but I can tell you all the reasons why we're not there. And it starts with you're not in the present moment. And the reason you need permission slips is because you believe that to have something, you have to earn it, or you have to check these boxes before it can come. And while that may have been true at one time and may be true for somebody else, it doesn't necessarily have to be true. But I guarantee the longer you believe that it's true, the longer you will wait for those things until you check those boxes. I hope this is making sense. Again, I'm still synthesizing some of it myself. But in the meantime, my friends, be well and be free.